Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Ekamek. This is Limbus Company. Yesterday, in our Luxcavation expeditions, we tackled the alley watchdog. This one can beat some of our attacks if we're particularly unlucky with our coin flips. Today, we have You Must Be Strong, and it's You Want to Get Beat, Hurtily? So yeah, let's play the game of death. Now, the thing is, this fight has one element only, which makes it easy to, set up for whatever sort of damage we're expecting to come in. It's all pride damage, so characters with pride egos initially are pretty good. It uses all damage types, but the damage type we have to worry about is blunt. That is the problem, because a lot of the good Gloom IDs are weak to blunt. So let's start from the top. W-Core Cleanup Agent Don Quixote. Again, it's one of the best charge IDs in the game. She's packing a very powerful Gloom attack. But also, in this fight, we're actually going to get some use out of her Telepole ID. We have a decent chance of affording this, and as you can see, she gives out charge counter allies by Envy Resonance. So that means just a single person also using an Envy attack the turn she throws this means that everyone gets 2 charge. The more Envy attacks, the more charge. Second on the line, Season 2 Reminiscence. So, Rose Banner Rodion here. This is a Season 2 ID, so technically not the best pick. I'll talk about an alternative Rodion to use. She has a Pride skill. It gives her Pride resistance. That's nice. She has an extremely powerful Gloom skill here, but you have to be able to actually have the charge in order to get the full effect, because as you can see, she needs to have charge plus 3 in order to get the reuse effect. And chances are, unless you're really lucky, she's not going to have the SP to use it. Also worth noting is Rhyme Shank. This is a very powerful AoE Gloom attack, but there's a catch. If she rolls tails, then she gets 15 power. Keep this number in mind for later. Alternatively, you could use Kurukumo Clan Wakashu Ryodian. She does have a Gloom attack, which means she has an easy time feeding Rhyme Shank. The problem is a fatal weakness to blunt, which overrides her pride resistance. So this is one you'll probably want to replace if you have. She's not the best, but if you can't get your hands on Rose Spanner, then she is an option. I guess it's also worth saying that Dicey Association Rodion is a pretty good pick here, because she has a very common Gloom attack, and unlike other discard IDs, this one can form a strategy all on its own. The way it works is you use a guard skill to discard one of her strong attacks, and that gives her a better insight. Which means that her skill 1 here, Illuminate Thy Vacuity, gains coin power. And it actually can start dealing some serious damage. Not to mention that this is just a flat out Gloom This ID is focused on sinking, and sinking deals Gloom damage to abnormalities, like this guy. Now, third on this step, a rather uncommon use of Forced, W-Core L2 Cleanup Agent. Gloom skill 2, which is nice. Technically this is a Gloom ego, but it's very unlikely that you'll get this while it matters. Envy skill 1, Envy Guard. So she's very good at helping Don Quixote get her telepole up. Also worth noticing is that whenever she hits while at 4 or more envy, then she also gives out charge to her friends and herself. Main point here, overcharge. At 5 charge count, we get extra clash power. On hit with it while at 5 charge count, she inflicts a very powerful debuff of attack power down and paralyze. I guess it's also worth going back and saying you're going to get a charge positive out of leap, but it also inflicts bind, and that's actually very important in this fight. You could give her the teleport ID as well, but we already have Don Quixote. Fluid Sac is just better for being gloom damage. I think that if you want an alternative, you can use the 7 Association Forced, but that's the one ID I don't have, so I can't tell. And then we have N. Sinclair again. One of the few IDs that people will use on Sinclair. He has his Gloom skill at skill 1, which is about the only reason to bring him. Yes, he is ineffective to Blunt, and Blunt is the most terrifying damage. Here's the problem. Branch of Knowledge gives him fatal resistance to Blunt, which means that it balances out with the ineffective Blunt. Prior to Fatality, ineffective Blunt, it becomes 1 times damage. It is at least worth having Self-Destructive Purge because there are some strong attacks here. And better that than nothing. And finally, to finish off, we have our core Ishmael. So first of all, I need to draw attention to this. I have tier 4 Ishmael here. This is important because tier 3 is kind of bad. Tier 4 makes her kit work a lot better. She has Snag Harpoon. While it's difficult to get that Wrath generation, it's possible. So she can actually pull in a very good Gloom Ego. Mind Strike and Flaying Surge are sinking moves, but also they're pretty decent attacks all on their own, especially Mind Strike for hitting the abnormalities in their weakness. She also has a Gloom Evade if you need for coin generation. You don't want to use this. The thing is, if we jump over to passives, by uptying to her 4, to tier 4, we have this effect. 3 Gloom Resonance. That means if 3 Gloom attacks are used in the same turn, she gets attack power bonus for every 3 Gloom Resonance. So we're only ever going to see +1. If she fails to deal damage, lose 15 SP. This is the tier 4 version of the ability. In tier 3, she's going to lose the SP anyway. She just gets the attack power bonus to compensate. It's very hard to give her more SP in this fight, so you don't want that to happen. And so, naturally, you don't want that evade kicking in. So, let's go. The game of death. So the thing about you want to get beat Hurtily, this isn't technically the abnormality, it's just an abnormality byproduct. You must be strong in the background here, is the actual threat. But we'll get into how that is for in a bit. Each of these enemies has Surgery. Die when count reaches 5. Reduce max HP by 20%, deal 20% more damage, and gain haste. These guys can get to be seriously annoying speedsters. So, get to work. 13 minus 10 coin. Sinclair, you can hit him from the side and... let's rack up some scores. I want to hit you from the side. This is a guaranteed win, so I don't need to worry there. Actually, if I swap this over, I'm not getting the bonus, but I am achieving 5 times Gloom Resonance, and it's an absolute resonance, so everyone's going to get a damage bonus. And the thing about whenever we trigger Ishmael's Brainwave Focus, we're also triggering Quick Recharge for Don Quixote, which means that she also gets a bonus to her charge generation. Anyway, it looks like we're just about ready to wrap up, right? I mean, 2 of them are staggered and on low health. That means that we've just about won the fight. Actually, wait. You go here. Did you notice that we killed this guy last turn and he's gotten back up? And that despite hitting the big one a lot, he's still not dead. You defeated the enemy, but now it's back up. What's going on? Work time and so excited. Yeah, the thing is about these guys, if you look at their passives, when unit is defeated, it revives the next turn and gains 1 surgery. People tend to skip this Luxcavation simply because it takes forever. How do psychoborgs keep coming back? The sinners were discussing. Perhaps those beings are not alive. That way they would not be able to die. No, we're not getting philosophical here. To me, it looked like rebuilding a brick wall. I think I'm hearing something from that factory in the back. The group turned their gaze to the factory behind the cyborgs. Metallic clanking could be heard from the place that was quiet until moments ago. Maybe you should take a look at that shady facility. If you click this one, then you have to kill them all. Then you have to force them to the high surgery count to win the fight. That is a complete waste of time. You want to investigate the factory. You decided to check out the factory. You might want to do something about the cyborgs first just to be safe. Perhaps you could earn time to get through by incapacitating the biggest one? Go for the big one! And the thing is, he's not going to make it easy. He's going to use... he's using punishment. This is a very powerful attack, especially since he's at 3 surgery. So it rolls 3 plus 6, and it has 2 coins. So that means it rolls a 15. But he also pays 10 HP to gain 2 skill power. So that means it's a 17. He can beat a lot of our attacks. Fortunately, we have some powerful attacks ready of our own. This attack is going to go through unopposed, but 8 damage isn't too much to be worried about. Incidentally, there's a little bit of a weirdness with the little robots. I think that they die at surgery count 4. Despite the fact that it says it dies when reaches count 5. It's kind of strange. Oh man, Ishmael was having none of that. 164 damage. This is the power of charged IDs. Yeah, that one in the back died despite not reaching surgery 5. Pinning down the largest cyborg as planned, got to the factory in time. This looks like some kind of toy plant. The Cinder's comment on the huge mechanism. Come behold this curiosity. The Cinder pointed to a control panel with several buttons attached to it. Do you love the city you live in? What should you press? So, if you push 5 buttons in overall, then the whole place explodes, everyone takes damage. If you press no, incorrect input, you must become strong. Please input your answer again. Warning, pressing the button 3 times will cause the facility to shut down. Do you love the city you live in? What should you press? Yes. Continuing augmentation. You must become strong. Please proceed with the input. Do you love the city you live in? What should you press? So if your 5th answer is a 3rd no, then the whole place shuts down. Yeah. Detected 3 inputs. Operating emergency protocol 3. Facility shut down. Looks like it stopped. The machines whirred for a short while before stopping. With that, the cyborgs should no longer revive. Let's step outside the factory, shall we? All enemies lost their upgrade factory at work passives. So yeah, he's moving fast now, but he's using a pushover attack called Emergency. Well, pushover to a certain extent of the word. Rolls a 1 to 4.
전투에 임하겠습니다.
It's a lot easier to beat than punishment, I can say that much. The thing is, with how many times you've probably beaten the guy down, he's going to be moving very fast at the end. And that means he's got a good chance of getting all of his attacks on the same character. And they might not be a character that has attacks that can protect themselves.
내 앞을 막을 자는 없어.
So yeah, it's tedious, but it does have that one risky attack. Unlike the wolf, so the thing is about the alley watchdog is that while it has good coin power, none of its attacks can actually hit you multiple times, so they can't exploit staggers if they somehow manage to hit you hard enough to stagger. You want to get beat Hurtily? Oh, he can absolutely stagger you. I guess if you really want a replacement for Rodion that isn't a complete pushover, Arcor Mersault is an option because he has a Gloom tier 2, he has a Gloom skill 2 skill in Demolish. And as a charge ID, he has a nuke. He also has Envy and Envy skill 1 and a resistance to blunt. So he can actually take some severe punishment from the want to get beat Hurtily. Of course, if you do that, then you probably want to give him his own ego, which is ironically the same guy. If you want to get beat Hurtily, it gives him the surgery buff as well, but that also means he gets haste. And the thing about Arcor Mersault, he can get pretty dang fast. In fact, a lot of his bonuses come from that. So yeah, bit of a long one today. I'm not going to show 3 different clears. The problem is that a lot of IDs that rely on Gloom are actually weak to Blunt, and that's the most dangerous thing because you want to get beat Hurtily has that punishment attack. If he staggers on the first hit, then he's going to absolutely royally screw over the Sinner on the second. And it's quite easy for him to beat a lot of your standard attacks, which is why you need some very powerful ego or some powerful nukes prepared. The one other person you could take, this is a Season 2 ID, Heathcliff Sunshower. He is not weak to pride, he resists blunt, and he has a Gloom nuke. The downside is that because it's a negative coin ID, it's going to be hard for him to beat the stronger attacks, but that's what the defense skills are for. Anyhow, is there anyone that I'm not thinking of that could also have been used? No way. If you're really desperate, Hong Lu isn't weak to pride, and he's resistant to blunt. And he does have a Gloom skill 1, but it's not really going to do much. Generally, Liu IDs need to be in focused burn teams. Although, again, on the other hand, he does have the only... Technically, he has the only Gloom Zayan ego in the game. Ryoshu does have one as well, but Ryoshu really isn't good for this fight. So, that has to be it. Yeah. there isn't anyone else. So, tomorrow, we fight the same guy again. Until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around. Darn lawnmower.